Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Item Tech Gamedev vlog episode 13. Even though I was pretty silent lately, I was still working on the game and a lot has changed. I jump right into what I worked on in the last month or so. The topic will be polishing, because it never stops, some input handling tricks, and another pretty complex one, game balance. The balancing master cat will oversee this episode. So, polishing again. During a series of playtest sessions with friends, family and old colleagues, I gathered some really valuable feedback on how to enhance the user experience. Thankfully the game itself was well received, but the mentioned issues really bugged me, so I sat down for a week or two to further enhance the presentation. Cost indicators were a tiny addition but helped a lot. Now the color of the chest and shop item cost texts reflect the state whether you can open or buy them. I went into an in-game UI tuning frenzy, so I added a pop animation on value change to gold and attribute texts, besides the existing yellow highlights. The health bar got some love too. I implemented a fade-in, fade-out effect for the heart sprite, slowly turning it into a black one when you are low on health. I also added a maximum health indicator and the same value change pop animation I use for the gold and attribute texts. Battle events and various skills like missing a hit, dodging, ending up in fear, or being crippled by a monster got many complaints due to their visibility being insufficient, leaving the player puzzled sometimes why a battle didn't play out as expected. Besides using the existing sprite effects, I added text notifications, similar to the ones used with pickups. No complaints ever since. This next one was an extra, but I really wanted to beef up the effects of the critical strikes to make them look more ferocious and better noticeable. Playtesters shared my enthusiasm towards having a better level transition effect, so I slapped on a black screen fade in fade out during dungeon generation and it worked wondrous. Take a look. Now a little about input handling. I knew for a long time now that the simple input handler logic the game had will not be good enough for the shipped version. I already worked a lot on and wrote my findings about better algorithms for grid-based games, so I'm not going to reiterate it all. I mostly reused the special high-level input handling parts from my previous game, Operation Creep. It was a real-time action game, so some parts were obviously less relevant, but I also added tiny new extras. I observed players hitting the walls a lot. Since the player character moves relatively fast from one cell to another, this happened frequently when trying to change directions. So I added a timer which blocks the hit wall movement state for a few milliseconds towards each walled direction for the first time when a new grid cell is reached. Again, results were really positive. On to the dreaded subject, balancing. My great wisdom about this topic. Balancing a game, especially an RPG, is hard. Not simply hard, it is ultra hard. Since I never worked on an RPG before, in the preparation phase I guesstimated that it will took around 2 to 3 days of full-time work, because after all it is a simple game. Oh man, how naive I was. It took close to 2 weeks. Having more experience on how to approach it and how to do it effectively, I probably could do it in less than a week now with a similar project. But that is still far off from 2 to 3 days. Before anyone plays the judge saying I'm a lunatic and spending this much probably wasn't worth it, I have to say that during the last 6 months nothing influenced the fairness and feeling of the game as much as these last 2 weeks, so do not neglect the importance of it. Now on to how I tamed this beast, mainly using OpenOffice, but Excel or Google Sheets works just as well if not better. So it was good old-fashioned charting baby. And how? I implemented almost all the formulas like the damage model, pickup probabilities, the loot system, etc. in isolated sheets, filled it with the game data and tweaked it, or the formulas sometimes, to reach a desirable outcome. This may sound boring or cumbersome, but in reality charts are really useful and these tools help tremendously. Working with a lot of data is made easy and you get results immediately when you change something. Also, they have a massive library of functions built in, so mimicking something like the damage reduction logic of a game is actually not that hard. That is the main chart of the game, controlling the probabilities of specific pickups, chests, and monsters occurring on levels. It plays a key role in determining the difficulty and the feel of the game, so nailing it was pretty important. No pressure. If balancing this way is pretty efficient, why it took so much time? Well, even a simple game like I Am Overburdened is built from an absurd number of components, so modeling it took at least a dozen gigantic charts. Another difficult aspect is validating your changes. The most reliable way is playtesting. So I completed the game during the last 2 weeks from start to finish around 30 to 40 times, and that takes a long while. There are faster but less accurate ways, of course. I will talk about that topic in another post. This one is already pretty big. Here goes some tips and tricks. Focus on balancing isolated parts or chunks of your game first. This wide chest chart works out how the chests behave, for example, opening cost, probabilities, or possible items. Balancing sections of your game is easier than trying to figure out and make the whole thing work all together in one pass. Parts with close to final values can even help solidifying other aspects, like knowing the frequency and the overall cost of chests helped in figuring out how much gold the player should find in I Am Overburdened. Visualization and approaching problems from different perspectives are key. The battle model, attack, defense, damage and health formulas wasn't working perfectly up until last week. I decided to chart the relation of the attack, defense and health values and how their change affect the number of hits required to kill an enemy. These fancy damage model graphs show this relation. Seeing the number of hits required in various situations immediately sparked some ideas how to fix what was bugging me. Fixing many formulas and numbers up front can make your life easier. That's a lot of charts, I know, but the highlighted blue parts are the interesting ones. I settled on using them as semi-final values and formulas long before starting to balance the game. If you have some fixed counts, costs, bonuses or probabilities, you can work out the numbers for your other systems more easily. In I Am Overburdened, I decided on the pickup powers, like the plus health given by potions or the plus attribute bonuses, before the balancing phase. Working out the frequencies and levels was pretty easy due to having this data. Also helps when starting out, since it gives a lot of basis to work with when you're building your first charts. Now on to the unmissable personal grounds. I've been vlogging about this game for a long while now. Will this game ever be finished? Yes, yes and yes. I know it has fallen into this stretched and winding development, but it is really close to the finish line now, and it is going to be awesome! I'm more proud of it than anything I've ever created in my life prior. Soon. Really soon. If you liked what you saw, you can subscribe to my channel or you can follow the game and my development journey on regular contacts. As always, I'm open for questions, comments and critique. Please leave them below the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.